Hi, beautiful people. Teresa Garcia, and today I'm talking to you about how to release a relationship with love. Now, this is part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend to check that one out first. The reason being is because part 1 was all about releasing and forgiving and getting ready to actually assess the situation. So if we come into our assessment full of, animosity, resentment, bitterness, and all of those things, then we're not going to accurately be able to assess the situation. Okay, so visit that and then come back. However, if you've already watched it, let's go. So part 2 is really about assessing. So it's going to require some solitude. It's going to require some journaling. Okay, you already journaled the red flags that you missed. And so now I want you to open up and ask yourself, I wonder why I ignored these red flags. I wonder what wounds are tied to these red flags, right? And from that place, it can get emotional again. And so anytime you start to feel the constriction of your emotions, I invite you to just imagine that you are connected to the divine. You can ground your heart into the heart of Mother Earth and root up energetically and ask God to fill Yahweh, Jehovah, however you identify with the original eternal creator, right? Ask them to ground you and help you see the truth of the situation, okay? From there, you're journaling, and your journaling is going to, there's something magical that happens when you write, okay? It's going to help you deeply learn the lessons that you were gifted with from this experience. And again, it doesn't matter how long the relationship was, doesn't matter if it was a romantic relationship, a friendship, a workship, it really doesn't matter. Relationships are all tied to our essence and to our core wounds. And so if there's challenges, they're tied to that. And so I wonder what the core wounds are that are tied to this specific situation, and I wonder what the lesson is for me here. What is the gift? And it might be hard at first, but I invite you to just, you can put on some binaural beats, you can go for a walk, you can take some silence, whatever it takes to get you in your zone, right? Many people, especially if it's a love relationship, decide to hurry up and jump and meet someone else. However, if you don't give your body, mind, and soul space to process and understand what's going on, you're gonna attract the same scenario. Yes, it might be slightly elevated, but it's gonna bring about the same lessons. We repeat these cycles, we repeat these lessons until they're learned. And even when you learn it at one level, it's kind of like an onion, right? There's always deeper levels. So the more you do this inner work in between, the more joyous and more healthy your relationships are going to be moving forward. So it's really, really important. I love taking salt baths, especially when I'm doing deep work, because you're releasing a lot and it helps with the emotions. And also, remember, you are not your emotional body. So you can make space if you feel constricted. And this is where I was going earlier and I got devolted, but that's okay. So whenever I'm feeling a really intense emotion, I literally imagine my aura as a bubble and I go like this. I blow that baby up. And I want to take up as much space as possible with my aura. And yes, this is all in your head. However, so are your problems, so are your emotions, right? They're just stories you're telling yourself. Shame, blame, guilt, all those things are just narratives to keep you small. So make space for them, welcome them in, and remind yourself you are not your emotions. The other part of this that is crucial is to not re-engage with the other party. Even if you just need to, you want to explain something. And I know that this is hard, right? Especially if you've been living with someone and maybe you still have things over there, you know, whatever you can let go, let go. And try not to re-engage. So, and I'll be honest, I had a relationship just end on Sunday, right? And today was like the first day that I felt intense emotions. However, I did my yin yoga and I did work out for the first time. And so I got my body moving. And what happens when you do yoga is you release those trapped emotions. And so they come up for you to release lovingly. And so I gave myself the space. I allowed myself to cry. It's a form of release. It doesn't mean that I'm bad or the other person's bad or that anything is wrong. It's just a sacred release. So if you start crying, just embrace it. Say it's okay and talk to yourself how you would talk to a child, right? That is going through something tough. Assure them that everything is going to be okay. Assure yourself that everything works out for your greatest good. And that's what will happen, right? But if we start to beat ourselves up and say, oh, it's my fault, I don't know how to love, or I don't know how to, whatever the story is, right? Then you're going to stay stuck in that until you ascend, until you choose a higher belief, until you choose a higher path. So with that being said, the second part of this is really about learning and releasing at the deepest level possible anything that no longer serves you. So I hope this helps, and I know that these are tough. However, every breakup, everything that we release allows us to call in what is more aligned. So both parties, like at the end of the day, if this is a loving relationship and you guys came together and all of a sudden it got really murky for you both, that was the universe just telling you guys weren't in alignment. It doesn't mean that you're bad people. It just means that you both together don't facilitate the highest timeline for each other. So you just release that so that you can find someone that will support your highest timeline. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have challenges with that person, but what it will mean is that when you have the challenges, you'll be with someone that can be respectful and loving and kind and supportive through those challenges, instead of someone that maybe, you know, can't understand you or can't see you and wants to change you or tear you down during those moments. The world is hard enough. We really have the opportunity to choose loving relationships. But the only way that we actually let those in is if we let go of the ones that don't serve us. And we must let go with love. Love transmutes everything. So whether they hate you or not, your grace, your love will transmute that hatred, right? And so it is. Many blessings to you and all that you do.